1 2 1 2.
Hello, hello. There we go. Helps if I turn my microphone on. Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon. Welcome to the Beds SU student election results. Hooray!
Hey!
The campaigning is over. The votes have been counted. And it is now time to welcome your newly elected Student Affairs Committee for 2026-27. Over the past 10 days, our candidates have worked tirelessly to engage you and earn your support. And my goodness, have you responded? 1,560 of you students have voted in this year's election, with a total of 4,487 votes placed across our 5 elected positions. Woo! That is a huge statement of confidence in student democracy here at BEDS. So thank you to every single one of you who voted. A total of 57 applied to stand in this year's elections. 24 went on to become candidates. 7 of those were competing for 2 of our full-time student campaigns leads positions, and the remainder standing for 1 of our 3 part-time student champion positions. Let's give a huge round of applause to every candidate who put themselves forward. Standing takes a tremendous amount of courage. As a thank you to everyone who voted, all voters were entered into our prize draw. Now, let's find out who won this. Our top prize winner of £150 is, drumroll please, Deepka. A big congratulations to you. Please don't spend it all in one place, unless that place is a metro. In that case, we fully support your choices. We also have 4 more winners, each receiving £50. And these lucky winners are Fiona Shul, Amani Fadli Dokali, Mirza Nasim Abbas, and Harjuda Lehil. I apologize if I pronounced that again wrong. We also had several £10 on-the-spot winners for anyone who happened to come across one of our ballot stations, and a big congratulations to all of those prize winners. Now, to all our winners, if you haven't already been contacted, make sure to keep an eye on your inbox. And of course, a huge congratulations to everyone who took the time to vote. Your voices shape what the Students' Union does on your behalf. Before we get to results, a quick explanation of how the votes were counted so you can follow along with what you're seeing. For each of the 5 candidate elections, which, as a reminder, were our 3 student champions and 2 student campaigns leads, we used the alternative vote system. Voters ranked candidates in order of preference, first choice, second choice, third, and so on. Each election fills 1 position, and a candidate is elected when their votes exceed more than half the valid votes at that stage. If no candidate reaches the quota, the candidate with the fewest votes is eliminated, and their ballots then transfer to those voters' next preference, and we count again. This continues round by round until one candidate exceeds 50% of the valid votes, therefore holding a majority and is elected. For the Student Priorities election, we use the voting system of single transferable vote, as there are 2 campaign spots to fill rather than 1. Voters ranked for 6 campaigns in order of preference. The quota for a campaign to be elected is calculated differently this time. The total votes are divided by the positions available plus 1. As we have 2 campaign spots to fill, we add the plus 1, which gives us 3. This means that we divide the total number of votes by 3, and this will give us the required quota of votes that a campaign must receive to be elected. With 1,084 ballots and 2 spots to fill, that gives us 1,084 divided by 3, which is 361. So any campaign that exceeds 361 votes is elected. When a campaign exceeds the quota, their surplus votes, meaning the votes above what they needed, are redistributed to voters' next preference. We'll explain that a little more when we get to it. The same election rules apply. If no campaign exceeds the quota, the campaign with the fewest votes is eliminated and their ballots transfer. We continue this until 2 campaigns exceed the quota and fill the 2 spots. The results will be announced in this order. First, the student priorities. 2 campaigns will be elected, and these become the Student Affairs Committee's primary focus for 2026-27. Second through 4th will be the student champions, the HCLS, UBBS, and test faculties. 5th and 6th will be the student campaigns lead, 1 role reserved for a student paying home fees and the other reserved for student paying international fees. And finally, we will introduce our complete Student Affairs Committee for 2026-27. Now, I'm sure you're all getting tired of my voice, so let's move along to the part we're all here for, the results. For the second year running, students voted on the priorities that matter most to them. The 2 campaigns with the most support will become the Student Affairs Committee's primary area of focus for 2026-27. In this election, 6 campaigns stood for election. Students were asked to rank them in order of preference, and the campaigns in alphabetical order are Enhance Your Course Experience, Extracurricular Activities for All, Improving Uni for Students Who Travel, Students for a Sustainable Future, Supporting Disabled and Neurodivergent Students, Wellbeing and Belonging. 2 of these 6 campaigns will be elected. Let's go to the count.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Mark McCormack. I work for the Students' Union, and I was the Deputy Returning Officer for this election. I'm now counting the votes for the student priorities election in the stage 1, where first preferences are distributed. There were 1,084 votes, valid votes for this election, and as Caius has really well explained, the quota was 361, which must be exceeded for any campaign to be elected. At the first stage of voting, Students for a Sustainable Future received 103 votes, Enhance Your Course Experience received 173, Extracurricular Activities for All received 113, Supporting Disabled and Neurodivergent Students 112, Improving University for Students Who Travel received 372, and Wellbeing and Belonging received 211. Improving Uni for Students Who Travel received 372 first preference votes, which exceeded the quota of 361 and was duly elected as the first student priority for 2026-27. With 1 position now filled, 1 position remains, and so the count continues. Now, as 1 campaign had already been elected, there were 11 surplus votes. So the elected campaign had 11 votes over the quota to be elected. Now, those 11 votes this is the complex bit. The method allows us to divide that by the number of transferable ballots that were in that entire campaign, which was 173, which gave a fraction of 0.0635. That is applied against all of the other campaigns and truncated for every stage. For ease of presentation, we have rounded that down to 0. So in short, it doesn't make any material difference on how the votes are presented. What I will assure you that 3 different methods of applying the single transferable vote were deployed, all receiving the same result in the end with the same order of elimination. So I can tell you that now, but you're about to find out what that order is. In the second stage, we had 11 surplus votes, but naught were transferred across any of the campaigns. And so we then moved to the next stage of voting, where we transferred the votes for Students for a Sustainable Future. As the lowest ranking candidate in the election, we transferred their votes, and any surplus votes were transferred to remaining campaigns. At that stage, 21 votes were added to the Wellbeing and Belonging campaign, 17 to the Supporting Disabled and Neurodivergent Students campaign, 16 votes added to the Extracurricular Activities for All campaign, and 21 for the Enhance Your Course Experience. No other campaign had received or exceeded quota at this stage, and so we moved to a further stage. In the next stage, the campaign for supporting disabled and neurodivergent students was eliminated for having the fewest number of votes. 52 votes that were transferred from the next round of voting went to the Wellbeing and Belonging campaign to bring their total to 284, 21 extra votes for the Extracurricular Activities for All, and 36 for the Enhance Your Course Experience. So at the end of that round, Extracurricular Activities for All had the fewest votes at 150, and no other campaign had yet exceeded the threshold for election. Therefore, we moved to another stage. In the final stage, the campaign excluded and eliminated was Extracurricular Activities for All. 150 votes were transferred and 45 were added to Wellbeing and Belonging, which exceeded the threshold at 329 votes, which meant that it was elected as the next priority for 26-27.
So there we go. Both positions are now filled. The two student priorities that will define the primary work of your Student Affairs Committee are improving uni for students who travel and wellbeing and belonging. Your Student Affairs Committee will lead on both of these priorities over the next academic year, alongside other projects and campaigns as they arise. We now move on to the Student Champions elections. There are 3 student champion positions available for 2026-27, one for each faculty of the University of Bedfordshire. Student champions are paid part-time student representatives working on behalf of students in their faculty. In the student champion election for the HCLS faculty, there were 3 candidates and Ron. In alphabetical order, the candidates were Alina, Bertha, Krish Mehandru, reopen nominations, or Ron. 392 votes were cast, making the quota 196.5. Let's go to round 1.
So in the first round of voting, Ron received 11 votes, Krish Mehandru received 117, Bertha received 100 votes, and Alina received 164. As no candidate had at that point exceeded the threshold for election, we moved to round 2. Reopen nominations was duly eliminated for having the fewest votes, and their votes were reallocated as shown in the chart, with 1 vote added to Alina's total, 4 votes added to Bertha's total, and 2 votes added to Krish's total. At this point in the election, Bertha had the least number of votes, and no other candidate had exceeded quota for election to the position. Therefore, Bertha was eliminated in the next round of voting, where 104 votes were eliminated from the election. Of that total, 34 votes were added to Alina and 17 votes transferred to Trish. In the final round of voting, Alina achieved 199 votes, which exceeded quota for the election in the round, and is therefore duly elected as student champion for HCLS for 26-27. Well done. Congratulations. Victory speech?
Thank you so much, everyone, for voting for me. It meant a lot for me, and I just wanted to say thank you so much for all of you, for HCLS, for all the students who voted for me. It means a lot. Thank you, guys. Okay, that's fine.
Big well done, Alina. In the student champion election for the UBBS faculty, there were 6 candidates and Ron. In alphabetical order, the candidates were Asim Khan, Huma, Krishna, Kushal Preet, Sabia, Tariqul Islam Joy, Reopen nominations or Ron. 419 votes were cast, making the quota 210. Let's go to round one.
So in the first round of voting, Asim Khan received 12 votes, Huma 117, Krishna 31, Kushalpreet Singh 158, Sabiha 60, and Tariq Islam Joy 37. Reopen nominations as a candidate in the election received 4 votes. At that point at the first round of voting, no candidate exceeded the quota for election, and therefore we moved to round 2, where reopen nominations was eliminated. Is that correct? Yeah. Reopen nominations was eliminated, and 4 votes were reallocated, with 1 going to Sabia to bring her total to 61, 1 going to Kushalpreet Singh, bringing their total to 159, 1 vote going to Krishna, bringing their total to 32, and another vote going to Asim Khan, bringing their total to 13. Nevertheless, no candidate had yet exceeded threshold for election, so we moved to round 3, where Asim Khan was eliminated in the election. Getting that right? I am, yeah. 13 votes of Asim Khan were then redistributed with 4 transferable votes only. At that point in the election, as you can see, only 5 votes, I should say, were transferred, which did not materially change any of the vote counts in the election. At this point in the election, Kushalpreet Singh was in the lead with 160 votes, followed by Huma on 117, Sabir on 64, and then Tariq Islam Joy on 37 and Krishna on 33. As no candidate had achieved the quota for election at this stage, we moved to round 4, where Krishna was eliminated. Krishna's votes were assessed for transferability, and within that round, we had 4 transferred to Huma, bringing her total to 121, 7 votes transferred to Kushalpreet Singh, bringing their total to 167, 3 to Sabir, bringing their total to 67, and Tariq Islam Joy received 5 votes, bringing their total to 42. And still, we did not have a candidate who'd exceeded the quota for election. So at the next round of voting, Tariq Islam Joy was eliminated from the election, leaving Huma, Kushalpreet Singh, and Sabir remaining. Of Tariq Islam Joy's votes transferred, 8 votes went to Huma, bringing their vote tally to 129, 7 to Kushalpreet Singh, bringing their tally to 174, and 8 to Sabir, bringing their tally to 75. In the final round, because there was a final round, because no candidate had yet exceeded quota for election, the candidate with the lowest vote, Sabir, was eliminated. Kushalpreet Singh received 19 further votes, and Huma received 30 further votes. However, Kushalpreet Singh's total remained at 193, in excess of the quota for election, and is duly elected as the student champion for the faculty. Congratulations. Well done. Well done. Would you like to say something?
No, I think.
No?
Thank you.
That's fine. Okay, well done. Congratulations.
Very big well done. Now, on to the final student champion election. In the student champion election, for the test faculty, there were 7 candidates and Ron. In alphabetical order, the candidates were Abdullah Ahmed, Aisha, AJ Sharma, Harsh Tripathi, Joshua, Lalit Kumar, and Mr. Sadi, and reopen nominations or Ron. 296 votes were cast. The quota is 148.5. Let's go to round 1.
In the first round of voting, Abdullah Ahmed received 36 votes, Aisha received 102 votes, AJ Sharma 8 votes, Harsh Tripathi 121 votes, Joshua 8 votes, Lalit Kumar 6 votes, and Mr. Sadi 8 votes. And reopen nominations, a candidate in election received 7 votes. No candidate had exceeded quota for election to the test student champion role in round 1, and so we proceeded to round 2. In this round, we eliminated 2 candidates at the same time, Lalit Kumar and reopen nominations, as both had the lowest number of votes and were unable to exceed the quota at this point. At that round of voting, an extra vote was added to Abdullah Ahmed to bring their total to 37, an extra vote to Aisha to bring their total to 103, an extra vote to AJ Sharma to bring their total to 9, and an extra vote to Joshua bringing their total to 9 as well. No candidate had yet exceeded the threshold for election, and so we moved to a third round where we eliminated Mr. Sadi. Their 8 votes were eliminated from the election, but 5 were transferred to other candidates. 1 to Abdullah Ahmed, 1 to AJ Sharma, and 3 to Harsh Tripathi, bringing their total in the lead to 124. At this stage, Harsh Tripathi led with 124. Aisha was following up with 103 behind, followed by Abdullah Ahmed, and then AJ Sharma and Joshua. As no candidate had exceeded the threshold for election at this point, we moved to round 4, where we eliminated 2 remaining candidates, which were AJ Sharma and Joshua. 19 votes were taken from those candidates and shared across the remaining candidates where they were transferable. 5 votes were added to the tally of Abdullah Ahmed, bringing their 38 tally up to 43. 8 votes added to Aisha to 111. And 9 votes added to Harsh Tripathi, bringing their total to 133. The election was very close. However, we still didn't have a candidate exceeding threshold for election. And so we moved to round 5 and eliminated Abdullah Ahmed from the election. Their 43 votes were removed from the election, and 20 votes were transferred to the remaining candidates. Of those transfers, 13 votes were added to Harsh Tripathi and 7 votes added to Aisha, which means Harsh Tripathi reached 146 votes and exceeded threshold for election and is duly elected as student champion for the test faculty for 26-27. Congratulations. Well done. Do you want to say anything? Why not?
I'm Harsh Tripathi. Thank you for everyone's support who has helped me throughout this election, all of the people who have campaigned for me. I'm really grateful to everyone's help. Thank you. Thank you. That's it. Thank you. Thank you.
Congratulations. We now come to the 2 student campaigns lead elections. The full-time sabbatical officer positions. There are 2 roles, one reserved for a student paying home fees and one reserved for a student paying international fees. Both elected officers will become trustees of the Students' Union and governors of the university. And together, they will lead on the 2 student priorities we've just announced. In the student campaigns lead election reserved for a student paying home fees, there were 2 candidates and Ron. In alphabetical order, the candidates were Azan Khan, Maria Seraphim, reopen nominations, or Ron. 921 votes were cast. The quota is 461. Let's go to round 1.
And so for the first round of voting, a candidate required 461 votes to be elected, or at least needed to exceed them. In the first round of voting, Azan Khan received 146 votes. Maria Seraphim received 695 votes, and reopen nominations received 80 votes. Maria Seraphim exceeded the quota and was duly elected Student Campaigns Lead Home Fees for 26-27 in the first round. Congratulations, Maria. Well done. Congratulations.
Thank you everyone who voted, and I'm really excited. I can't wait to just work with everyone with all the student priorities and just, see you.
A very big well done. In the Student Campaigns Lead election reserved for a student paying international fees, there were 5 candidates and Ron. Please note that one candidate, Malik, was named on the ballot but was withdrawn from the election prior to close of voting due to disqualification. Malik's first choice preferences votes were redistributed to voters' next preferences. In alphabetical order, the candidates were Deep Anshi, Hawa Ataja, Malik, who was withdrawn from the count, Mamun, Mohammed Munbeeb. Reopen nominations, or Ron. 990 usable votes were cast. Because Malik's candidacy was withdrawn, 380 ballots that ranked only Malik with no further preference exhausted and did not count. The quota is 495. Let's go to round 1.
So, as Caius said, the quota to be exceeded for election was 495. In the first round of voting, Dipanchi received 104 votes. Hawa Ataja received 562 votes. Mamoon received 215 votes. Mohammed Munib received 78 votes. And reopened nominations received 31 votes, which means Hawa Ataja reaches a majority with 562 votes and is duly re-elected Students' Campaign Lead's international fees reserved for 26-27. Congratulations, Hawa.
Thank you all for voting for me. I really appreciate. Here's to another year. Thank you.
A big well done and welcome back, Hawa. The campaigning is over. The votes have been counted, and I'm proud to introduce your Student Affairs Committee for 2026-27. Your two student priorities are improving uni for students who travel and well-being and belonging. Your student champions representing students across the three faculties are Alina for HCLS faculty, Kushal Preet for the UBBS faculty, and Harsh Tripathi for the TESS faculty. And your two student campaigns leads who will take up their full-time posts from July, lead on the student priorities and serve as trustees of the Students' Union and governors of the university are Maria Seraphim and Hawa Ataja returning for a second year. Please welcome your new Student Affairs Committee for 2026-27.
Can I give a quick shout out, please, to Hawa, Maria, Alina, Harsh, and Kushal Preet. If you're listening, would you like to come up? We'll have a photo with the whole team who've just been elected.